Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. Before I kick off, I just want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning subscribers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a little bit of life stuff thrown into it. And this particular episode is recorded on Ngunnawal land, also known as Canberra, Australia. So, this particular episode will be a little bit longer than 30 minutes. I will be trying to keep as close as I can to that 30-minute mark. But yeah, it's been one of those fortnights where there's been, I guess, a bit of stitching going on. And the fantastic thing that I feel at least excited about, and you as my viewers may feel excited about it as well, is that my AFL footy challenge, cross stitching challenge that I set myself for this calendar year is coming to a very close end. So the really fantastic thing is that I guess over the last 6 months, perhaps, I've set myself a challenge of associating many of my cross stitch pieces with many of the team or all of the teams that are part of the Australian Football League. And we are now in finals season, which means that the top 8 teams are playing against each other to eventually knock each other out to have 2 teams playing against each other in the grand final. And what that means, as far as my cross stitching is concerned, is that we have had our, I guess, our regular season come to an end for football, and it means that I'm going to be able to start working on some cross stitch projects that I really want to pay more attention to, compared with the ones that you've been seeing so regularly over however many months it's been, because the AFL season kicked off in, I guess, about mid-March this year. And so I'm happy that it's coming to an end, partly because I've just got this itch and hankering to sink my teeth in to many of my own designs, which is part of my side hustle called hot cross stitching. So with that in mind, one of the pieces that I have started working on, and I've actually gotten back into stitching probably within the last few days, maybe a good part of this week, is a project that is actually one of my very first designs, called Mini Mushrooms. And this is a photo that I took of a couple of mushrooms that are on my parents' farm out at Gundaroo. And it's a project that I'm about halfway through. So let's have a look. I can't remember exactly when I started this particular project. It is about halfway done, and hopefully I can stand back far enough to show you how it's looking. Yeah, so this is on 14 count Ada, and I'm using all DMC threads, and the height of the project that you're seeing at the moment is as tall as it's going to be. And I guess this is one half of the project, and I guess it may come out to being over here where you see my fingers wiggling. It'll be roughly that wide, and I'm contemplating how much of it I'll stitch over on the blank side, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So the interesting thing with this particular project is I started stitching this before I really found my ground with PDFs and getting them imported into Pattern Keeper. And I guess there have been some updates to the software as well of Pattern Keeper to enable I guess more PDFs to be imported, and I guess I've tweaked things on my end to enable that importing as well. So I guess I'll just see if I can do a comparison here. Yeah, so that's where we're at, and it's getting there. This is going to be a big picture. So the design area, if I do the full stitching, it's going to be 50.8 centimeters, so almost 51 centimeters by nearly 55 centimeters. I have no idea what that is in inches. I'm going to need to look that one up to properly do that calculating. But it feels weird stitching on 14 count after some of the other projects that I'm about to share with you that that are on, I guess, smaller counts. The great thing that I want to note here as well is that with this mini mushrooms project, it is available for purchase as a PDF download on the Hot Cross Stitching website. And towards the end of this episode, I've got some news that I want to share with you as well. So stick around if you can. Okay, so the next project that I have to share with you, and I've misplaced the cover sheet. Actually, I'll find that one a bit later. The next one I have to share with you is connected to my AFL footy challenge, and it is the Water Tiger 2. It's designed by Diane Allaire, and this is, I guess, what it's going to look like in the end. And this particular project has been connected to the AFL football team called the Richmond Tigers, and they did make it to the top 8 of the, I guess, the regular ladder footy season. I think there's about 16 teams. So the surprising thing is that I think Richmond, they did finish. They finished in the top 8. I can't remember where exactly, but that's beside the point. We're here for the cross stitching. So as a result of the winning score that the Tigers got for one of their games, or I guess one of the last games, I was able to fill in quite a lot of the side here. Just in terms of the background. So I've got a bit of confetti stitching that I need to work on. And I guess the surprising thing with the football was that the Richmond Tigers aren't going to be in the grand final. They are a very strong team, and it was just really surprising that they didn't make it. Okay, so with a lot of these projects that I'm about to share also that are part of my AFL challenge that I've set for myself, I do have the note somewhere for how many stitches I've put into it. I will do potentially a Flosstube extra just based around this football challenge that I had for myself, how many stitches have gone into particular projects, which is why you may have seen certain projects more often than others, and why certain projects have gotten just so much attention and so much stitching. And I guess I'll talk a bit more in that one about what I've learned from it and what I'll do potentially next year for that season, if I choose to do anything. Okay, so the next one I have to share is called Barnyard Kittens. It's a dimensions kit, and this one's a really cute one. And I started this initially, I think, back in 2019 for, I think, for Whipco, or it might have even been Stitch Mania or something very similar to that. So this is what it will look like in the end. And these kittens are just cute. They really are. And with when I can talk properly, with the dimensions kits, if anyone here has stitched them, you'll know that they can be a blessing. They can be somewhat annoying, depending. I have stitched some dimensions before, and they can be good because the texture that the kits give for, I guess, for the wood in this particular case, a lot of it will be half stitch, but it will vary in terms of how many threads are connected to these particular stitches, because with a lot of the half stitch, it will be 2 threads or 1 thread or 3 threads or whatever it is that the pattern calls for. In terms of the crosses, it will be typically just 2 strands. So this particular chart I had associated with the Geelong cats, and Geelong. Geelong actually did make it into the top 8, and they surprisingly won their recent game as part of the finals, and they've got a fight on their hands to actually get into the grand finals. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Okay, so the next one is Pisces, and this one is the one that I've misplaced the cover sheet to, and I probably won't end up putting in the the cover sheet insert because of editing, and I'll get to it. We'll be right. So what I've done, I got really bored of stitching a lot of this teal colour, which is DMC 3808. I'm stitching this on, I think, 25 or 28 count linen, and so I decided that I wanted to focus on filling in some of the letters, and this particular project is connected to Port Adelaide. Their colours are very much like this teal colour that we see here, and it's, I think, silver and black. So hopefully I can pay a bit more attention to this project, but it's not going to get anywhere near as much love as some of the other ones that I really want to work on. So we may not see this project until next year. Okay, so also Port Adelaide, they scored really low down on the ladder, so that's also another factor for why we won't be seeing that one for a while. Okay, we have Bothy Threads, a dictionary of dogs, and this particular project is connected to the AFL team, the Western Bulldogs, and they have finished in the top 8 of the 8 regular AFL ladder, and they played this weekend, and I can't remember if they've been knocked out. I think they have. Just, I don't fully understand how it all works. I'm not going to try and explain. So this is what I've done. I've been focusing a lot on this top banner where it's the really pale yellow. I've just found, as far as counting was concerned with the final scores, that just having the solid stitching helped a lot. And I think it was also a lot to do with me just not really enjoying the project as much as some of the others. So we probably won't see this project until next year either. And I am using all of the called for colours in the project. It came as a kit. So this is on 14 count Ada, and it doesn't say if it's anchor threads or any other kind of threads. I guess I'm assuming it's anchor. I'm not sure why. Anyway, it's by the by. The next project I have to share with you is one of my own designs, and you've been hearing a lot about it throughout this season, or throughout this year at least. So this one is Dewdrop Daisy, and this is the cover sheet. And this particular project is available on the Hot Cross Stitching website as PDF download, and it is fully compatible with Pattern Keeper. I also want to note that with my other project, which is the mini mushrooms, I'm stitching it on a paper pattern, and it should be available as a connection to Pattern Keeper. It should be imported. Those wordings. So what I've done also that will be a little bit different with this project, things are dropping. I've actually attached a bit of fabric to the bottom. This is just as a way of me trying to see if it's going to work with the stitching. So what I'm aiming to do is to stitch the sides where you see my fingers moving around a little bit, to stitch this side, that side as much as I can to bring it down as even as I can with the rest of the petals that we see on the side, to then straighten out the line and see how much fabric I do actually need. My biggest concern is how I'm actually going to do the stitches when I start crossing over from the purple fabric to the white fabric, because of the seam. So I've just very loosely tacked on at the bottom of the fabric. It is very rough and ready, mostly because I'll take gentle stitches, gentle crosses when I go with that. My main concern is just how bulky the crosses are going to look when I start transitioning over between the two fabrics. So if anyone has, I guess, any suggestions or ideas of how I can reduce the bulkiness of the crosses when I get to there, I would love to hear about it in the comments if you've got anything. So yeah, we'll see how things go on that one. So this particular project has been a twofold kind of project, in the sense that this project is connected to the Fremantle Dockers. They also finished in the top 8 of the regular football season, and they played last night and they won. And that means they've still got a few more games to play to figure out if they'll make it to the grand final or not. The Fremantle Dockers, their main team colours is purple, so purple fabric, and we've got some purples in the middle. And this particular project also is part of my 22,000 stitches for the year 2022. I'm going to need to do some more calculations to figure out how many more thousands of stitches I need to put into this project before I get to the final 2022. I think I'm getting close. I do remember that the last counting I did, there was about 12,000 or so stitches to go. We'll wait and see. I'll have to do a bit more figuring out of that one. Let's see, the next project we have is I Count My Lucky Stars, and I'll just find the cover page. Sorry for the rustling. I've got my cover pages right in front of me underneath the screen. Okay, so this is I Count My Lucky Stars, and this is a free chart that is available on my website. Just free download. It's fully compatible with Pattern Keeper if that's your jam. And the good thing is that it is definitely working beautifully on the 28 count linen. And this is where I'm at so far. This particular project has actually been not quite my daily 30, but it's been a project I've worked on a bit during my lunch break, because I'm working from home, and yeah, it's coming up really nicely. I'm using a variegated thread. It's a really beautiful soft silk, and my brain's memory is not going very well for me today. And Tequila Sunrise is the name of the color of thread that it's attributed to, and Water Lilies, something about the brand. Go and have a look back at some of my earlier episodes. It's all there. If otherwise, I'll try and put those details in the description box below. So yeah, that's going to be the other thing with a lot of the projects that I'm sharing with you as well, that if I've missed talking about stuff, I'll try and mention it in the description box. And if I've still missed it in the description box and you want to know details, yeah, comment and we'll be okay. We'll get there. So the I Count My Lucky Stars pattern, that's not attributed to any particular AFL team or anything like that. I started it because I wanted to. Pretty much. It is something where I've been trying to organize my floss and I've got too much. It's a first world problem in the stitches world where I have too much floss and I need to figure out how I'm going to manage it. So the next project I have to share with you is connected to my AFL footy challenge, and it is Fight Like a Girl. This one, I'm sure my regular viewers have gotten sick of it. This one is designed by Tanya Amity. The illustration is by Elena Zhnetkova. It's a pattern that I got from Etsy as a PDF download that I printed out. And yeah, it's finally compatible with a Pattern Keeper, which has helped immensely. So this particular project, sorry, it's on the ground. This particular project has been connected to 3 AFL teams. So the Melbourne Demons, their colours are navy blue and red. They finished, I think, second in the regular AFL season, and Swans beat the Melbourne Demons, and Swans beat Demons because we played against them this weekend as part of quarter semi-finals, whatever it is. So it means that my team, the Swans, they get a rest, and I'll talk more about them later. Let's go back to cross stitch. Okay, so the other team connected to this project is the Blues, Carlton Blues. I really don't know why I struggle with that team, to remember their team. I think it's more because I don't rate them highly, yet they somehow have done brilliantly this season. Because they made it to the top 8 in the regular season, so they're playing to try and get into the grand final. And I think they won their game this weekend. That's beside the point. They won. They might make it the grand final. Because of them, I've put a lot of work into this project, and the other team that played this weekend and are fighting to get to the grand final is the Brisbane Lions. So yeah, because of those 3 teams, yeah, I've been working on this project a lot. So because of them, because of those 3 teams, I have finished the second panel for this project, and it's coming together. It's starting to look good. I think I'll give the backstitching a break just a little bit and make a bit more of a start on the 3rd row. So the 3rd row means that I'll be finishing off Alice in Wonderland's skirt and legs and such. I'll finish the base of the bookshelf that the ladies are sitting on, and you'll start to see Pippi Longstocking and not Hermione, some of the other characters that we're seeing in the characters here for the chicks. I've read some of these books, not all of them. I've probably seen movies connected to these before I've actually read the books. So yeah, It's all good. Okay, let's see. This could be one of the last no, it's not. 2 more projects to go. Okay. So the next project I have to share is this one. So actually, scrap that because of the cover pages. This is another one of my designs. So this is the Pink Bottle Brush Mini. And this one's, I'm really impressed with how this one's coming together. I have focused on this one just a little bit more over the week, or I guess a little bit more over the fortnight. And it's doing really well. This particular project is not connected to any football team or anything like that. This one, I think I started perhaps back in 2019 as well. And actually, I might have started this nearly around the same time as when I started Dewdrop Daisy. And I think I paused working on this one so much because of how much confetti is in this project. And thankfully, Pattern Keeper has helped me out a lot with this. And I think I'd paused this one a fair bit because I, at that stage, didn't have all of the threads that I needed for it. But I'm definitely all good now. I'm chuckling because in the next half of this video, I'll be able to talk a bit more about my threads and what's happening there. So this is looking good. This is over halfway. So this might be like about 52, 53%. There's really only 10,000 stitches. I think overall, like in total, this project has 10,000 stitches in it. So I really should be done. Anyway, the last project I have to share with you is Black and White Rolled Up Daisy. Again, another one of my designs, and it is available for purchase on my website, and it is fully Pattern Keeper compatible. And this particular project has been associated with I think 2 teams, but it's gotten the most attention because of one. So the 2 teams are Collingwood Magpies and the West Coast Eagles. West Coast Eagles have had a dismal season. They may have gotten the wooden spoon. It would not surprise me if they did. But Collingwood Magpies have had a brilliant season. They actually, I've got one more project to share. Well, it doesn't matter. So because of the Collingwood Magpies, we are really starting to see the formation of the petals. Sorry, initially in the camera it looked like I had the project around a different way. So this is definitely one of the projects I'm going to be focusing on a lot more for the rest of this year and potentially into next year as well. So this is on 18 count Black Ada, and I'm using all of the DMC threads, and with all of my projects except for I Count My Lucky Stars, I'm using DMC threads. They're typically 2/2. With I Count My Lucky Stars, I'm doing 1/1, and yeah, that one's a specialty thread. So with that in mind, we are pretty well coming to the end of the first half. So with the second half of this particular episode, this will be like a little bit of a life update, still connected to cross stitch. And the other part will be, just how I'm trying to get my head together, and it will also explain why I'm a little bit all over the shop with my words. So I'll see you very soon if you want to stick around. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you really want to hear more about what's going on in my world of cross stitch. The subscription button and ringing the bell and liking things will definitely enable you to hear more from me. See you soon. Okay, welcome back if you're choosing to stick around. So, I'm all over the shop at the moment because unfortunately I'm letting perfection get in the way of something good. So, that particular phrasing is something that a colleague of mine has used a few times. And I love that phrasing of don't let something perfect get in the way of something good, or don't let perfection get in the way of something good. That's the wording. Don't let perfection get in the way of something good. And I've been stuck in my head for at least this week, and it's really come up over this weekend where I've been battling against wanting to set up my own Etsy store, and I've felt disjointed about doing it and actually taking action on it because a part of me has been wanting to get things organized and set up behind the scenes before I start getting things connected up with my website and going from there because I think it's a little bit of the fear factor. I'm fearing the future, having like bits of anxiety where in my headspace, um, I'm just going to step a little bit to the side. So behind me is a little bit of my organization and and this is just a little top shelf of sort of what we're seeing. There is a lower shelf that are squares and such as well, and the other stuff that we see over the side near the chair is some other stuff that I need to try and get organized as well. A lot of it's scrapbooking stuff. I was briefly, like in a blinkety miss kind of brief, into scrapbooking, partly because a friend was into scrapbooking as well, and um, she's sort of her interests have gone elsewhere with craft and that kind of thing, and so this is where in my headspace is going two different ways, or in squiggly lines different ways. So in one of the squiggle directions, it's thinking, okay, I need to do a destash. And the great thing is that there are many groups that I can connect with on Facebook and similar locations in Australia that I can connect with and destash and that kind of thing. That will give me ample space for what I'm wanting to do, which I'll get to very soon. I'll talk a little bit more about. The other squiggle line of thinking is hang on to the stuff, put it into storage, put it into clear tubs and stuff, go and pop it into like my garage or something um, that I don't have a lot of space in either because my other squiggle line of thinking in the very long term line of thinking, and this feels like me dreaming, and I think it can be very much a reality as well because of searches that I've done on the internet and seen people doing this. So my other squiggle line of thinking, dreaming, hoping, wanting is to have hot cross stitching expand more than what you hear me talking about and what you see on YouTube. So aside from hot cross stitching being all about cross stitching and designing patterns and all of that fun stuff, what I would love to see happen with hot cross stitching is for it to become part of a collective in the sense of it being like a creative library, so to speak. So if you think about your regular library that you may be a member of, or you may have been a member of because when you're a kid, your mum may, or your parents, guardians, whomever, may have had you be a member of the library, or you might have had a school library that you could have borrowed books from, and typically your membership would be free and you just pay fees if you're overdue with returning the books, that kind of thing. So, from a creative library perspective, the idea would be to have, say, perhaps an annual fee, or you could pay quarterly, or however the invoicing should work. The idea would be your membership enables you to have access to all of the creative stuff available in the collective, um, which means that if your interests at the moment are cross stitch, knitting, and crocheting, your membership would enable you to have access to patterns connected to those types of crafts. You would have access to all these different types of yarns and all the rest that you may not necessarily have been able to purchase yourself, but you would be at your membership would enable you to, as part of your annual fee or quarterly fee, whatever it is, enable you to grab that particular ball of yarn or that skein of embroidery thread or whatever, to then create your project and enable you to create something and finish something beautiful. The idea would also be to have um, what's my wordings? To have, I guess, catch ups as well. Like it could be virtual catch ups, it could be in person catch ups as well. And depending on how the logistics would work, have guest speakers come and do workshops, or you would have access to like a library of different clips, whether it be YouTube clips or other tutorials that people have done on how to finish different types of things, like finishing scarves or finishing a scrapbook page or finishing an embroidery project or cross stitch project, either framing it or finishing it as a pillow or anything in between. And I know that I'm just skimming the tip of the iceberg here, because there are so many different crafts and creative things that we can do. So to go down that avenue, in my headspace, I need a really big space to do this, like a studio kind of space that is dedicated to that kind of stuff. And the other component of how this collective would work is to actually have the supplies that people can access through their memberships and such, would be to either have people donate stuff. So, for example, in my case, I'm looking to destash my scrapbooking stuff, and if I were in contact with someone who already had this kind of collective thing set up, I could negotiate with that person to either donate it free of charge, or donate it and I get a discount on my membership, or the person I'm negotiating with, they may say, okay, this stuff is actually worth money. We don't feel right about you just donating it free of charge. We want to pay you some money. Or yeah, there could be so many different ways of negotiating how that can work. And as part of me talking all about this, I'm just one person, to try and do this. It will need to take a team of people to try and make this happen, because we would need to have a team of people to do the marketing, to do the inventory, to keep track of what we've got, what we'd need more of, and we'd need people in accounting. We would need people hands-on to deal with the customer service side of things, and deal with memberships and that kind of thing. So it would definitely be a team of people to make this happen. And at the moment, I'm feeling excited about this. I have this big picture, clear idea of how it can look. And it's also a matter of trying to find that physical space as well to make that all happen. In my headspace, I can see how this looks, I can see how it'll be stored and set up. But my world is quite small in that sense in terms of where I'm picturing, because I know that there's so many locations that this could be set up in, and that could even be the other component of actually expanding it out to make it global. I don't know how it could work globally, because we're talking shipping in terms of postage and timing of that. We'd have to be careful of copyright when it comes to patterns and that kind of thing, because that would be the other thing. Having patterns, like whether it be knitting, crochet, templates, and all the rest for different things, and figuring out how that would work. So that's part of where my headspace is right now. Why my words aren't coming out very well in the first part of this episode, and to also put into perspective of the organized chaos behind me. The other perspective of me wanting to connect to Etsy, but not making it happen, is I feel disjointed with Etsy. I've got my personal thoughts on all of that from what I've seen and heard about Etsy, and it's a fantastic spot. I love that there are so many people on Etsy who are making and selling wares on Etsy. And I mean, Autumn Lane Stitchery, for example, I didn't know that they had an Etsy store before. Over in America, you guys having the digital markets and that kind of thing, that I've seen through the Flosstube episodes. And yeah, I'm blown away by those patterns. Aaron has amazing talent for drawing, and that I envy that talent. So it's those sorts of things where we have an amazing group of people on Etsy, and we're all trying to vie for that right niche, that right spot. So in my headspace, I've wanted to set up an Etsy store, have PDF downloads, but I've also wanted to be organized for having paper patterns to set up kits. And I need the physical space to make that happen. And this weekend, trying to clean things up has been an absolute pain in the blooming neck, in the sense that I am sentimental. I do keep things to a minimum where I can. But in terms of gifts that I receive from family and friends for birthdays, Christmases, that kind of thing, even if I can't figure out a use for it, I'll still hang on to it, because I know that that person who gave me that gift went through the time and effort to pick something out for me. And I just don't have the heart to figure out what to do with it. I don't want to get rid of it, but I also don't know what to do with it. So it's an interesting space to be in. Living in my head is not fun at times, and I end up in a grumpy mood when I try to figure out what I'm going to do with my stuff. So that's been an interesting thing, and it may actually be part of why I don't finish stuff sometimes, where it gets to a point where I've put so much time and effort into a project or into something that I will go, I've run out of steam on this, I can't finish it. And I'll then eventually get back to it. And that's part of why trying to clean up my organized chaos behind me is taking me longer than I'd like. Because I guess, based on some of the Netflix stuff that I've seen, ideally what I should do is get everything out of this room, line it all out, get it all organized, and then sort it into the piles of keep, donate, store, throw out. Or not quite store, but at least keep, donate, throw. and there's too much stuff in here that still brings me a bit of joy. So I can't quite do the Marie Kondo method of things. I'll get there. I do joke around with my boyfriend a bit to say that we need a bigger place, but then it would mean a bigger mess because I would keep more of my stuff than donate or do something else with. And I would still have this problem because I haven't organized myself more. I do also acknowledge that I have wall space behind me. So the jigsaw puzzle that you see behind me, that is in a picture frame, that is actually hanging up on the wall. So I could put shelves up on the wall, and then the wall that I'm looking at, in terms of me looking at the camera right now, there's a wall behind you, and I've got bits of paper blue tacked around, and I could put shelving there as well. I hate putting holes in walls if I can avoid it. My line of thinking is that even though I've been in this home for 12 years now, um, I don't want to put shelves up unless I absolutely have to, or put holes in the walls, like putting a little nail in the wall to hang something up, unless I have to. Because in my headspace, if the world changed in some way and I chose to sell this house, to move somewhere else, I would have to somehow plug up those holes, get the house. That I could pay a professional to do that for me, but it's still the fact that there's a hole in the wall, and someone may not want to hang a picture there or put shelving there or whatever the scenario. Um, and again, that is my monkey mind getting in the way of stuff. That is perfection getting in the way of something good. Um, so that is a bit of my life update, and I have rambled on for nearly 20 minutes about it. So thank you. Thank you so much. This is me coming to an end of this particular episode. Before I do sign off, I probably won't do any more stitching connected to my AFL footy challenge. I feel that I'm now free, in the sense that I can now focus on whatever projects I want. I won't be counting stitches per se. I guess for future Flosstube episodes, what I'll see if I can try and do is keep a notebook next to me and just jot down what projects I've worked on and perhaps for how long. So, for example, I might have sat down, or rephrase, I might sit down this afternoon and I might work on Dewdrop Daisy for 2 hours or something. And with that in mind, just before I do sign off as well, I was talking about having too much floss. So on the table beside me is my desk that I use for my professional work in the public service, and it's currently covered in a lot of my projects at the moment. I also have been trying to bobbinate a lot of spare floss that I purchased a couple of years ago at least, when I was going to be kitting up Dewdrop Daisy and Pink Bottle Brush, or Pink Bottle Brush Mini. And I had figured that I'd just purchase whatever colours I needed in the list, regardless of whether I had them in my stash or not. And that has resulted in me needing to actually purchase some more storage boxes, because I don't have anywhere to properly store my DMC threads in the 700 range. They've been displaced as part of me trying to get things back into order. So welcome to my world of chaos, or organized mess. So I'll leave that there. welcome to my world of chaos, and please don't let perfection get in the way of something good, because that good could blow into something brilliant and fantastic. So I will hopefully see you in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you progress that I've made on projects that are not connected to the football. As much as I love the Australian Football League, these last few months have gotten a bit wearing, and I love you all for bearing with me and just seeing the same old projects and me rattling on about the different football teams, even if you don't really care about football. So I thank you. I thank you very much. And I will see you all hopefully in 2 weeks' time. See you.